Hey, we're live. Hello, everyone. It's Zara Altair with the Midweek Zap. And thank you, the great Zapster audience, for being here. Especially people like Dave Pipe in the middle of moving, and you're here at this event. So we want to thank you all. And William Rock and Phil Bowyer, Roxanne Davenport, and many, many more, just in case. Um, anyway, let's get on with it. We're going to talk today about your shoeless, well, I'm reversing it, your shirtless, shoeless fans. And we have Ben Fisher from Steady Demand and Christine DeGraff from Circloscope, My Music Hangout, and Steady Demand. So, welcome, and let's start with Ben. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, okay. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? First of all, I want to give a shout out to William Rock because you know what, William? I think it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. And when we did the Hulk Hogan Hangout on air with David Amerland and Ronnie Benson and Mark and everybody, Joshua Berg, you became one of my first shirtless, shoeless fans, and we'll get to a reason why that's a great thing. So I just want to give a big shout out to you, buddy. So yeah, who am I? Been helping businesses basically succeed on the internet since 1994. SEO addict, from back in the days, recovering. No. And my company, Steady Demand, which Christine's part of, we help companies basically come to grips with Google Plus and help them grow their followers, manage fan pages, as well as do things like what we're doing today, which is hangouts on air for their businesses, kind of like client showcases as well as product showcases. Other than that, I just really like to help people. So, yeah, that's a good place to start. On over to you, Christine.
That is. How about Christine?
Hey there, I'm Christine DeGraff. I guess my shirtless, shoeless fan that I'll shout out is Dave Pipe. He's always he's a big music fan and always at all of my music hangouts. I really appreciate it. My background, I have about 17 years experience in web development and SEO, internet marketing. And a couple years ago, I kind of quit all of that. Recovering from it, and came to Google Plus to check it out here. Along the way, I met a lot of great people and got involved with Circloscope and Steady Demand. So very fortunate to be working for both these great companies, and I'm excited to be here. And I'm the surprise guest. So.
Right. Well, we found out about you yesterday, so it's not a surprise anymore. We're so happy to have you here. And I know you're going to have some great tips for us in just a few minutes.
Well, I got to say this really quick, Sarah. I mean, one of the reasons that, I definitely want Christine to be here is she crushes it on every single platform that she gets on, even Sue.
Yeah, she does. I'm like, Christine, do you ever sleep?
Oh, I sleep, trust me. Just not the same hours that everyone else does.
Okay. Anyway, we're really happy to have you here. And so, for those of you who don't know about the Shirtless Shoeless dance video, Ben's going to play it for us so we can watch it. And we're going to do some comments. So let me, there we go.
Okay. So one of the things that we were talking about in the green room, right, was about, what is this video about? In the video, you see this guy, and basically he is just singing out, he's dancing all alone. People think he's nuts. People think he's crazy. He's shirtless and shoeless. And then all of a sudden, he gets joined by another guy who starts dancing with him as well. Think about the first guy as basically you. Whether you're a personal brand or a business brand, You're the leader. You've got to be the one who's really willing to get out there, act crazy, dance to your tune, basically, your brand, your message. And should you be lucky enough, basically, to get that other shirtless, shoeless guy to come, or someone to come and dance with you. The beauty of that is that once people start kind of dancing around you and your tune, is that they start to attract other like-minded people. And the beauty that we have with Google Plus is that all of this is tied together semantically, relationship-wise. Google knows all about each one of us as an entity. It knows about our websites, our social habits, our posting, our affinity interests, what kind of things we like, who we talk to, who we interact with, the sentiment that goes behind all of that, and puts all of this together to form basically an opinion about who we are. And to dial that back and just give a little bit of insight on that, when Vic and Dave Bez basically got together when they came and kind of wanted to reinvent Google, they called it, it was called Project Emerald C, but it was Google Plus. And it's the social layer, which basically is connecting everything together across all Google products, and as they put it, from AdWords to YouTube. So when I look at this video, I say, this is what I want, is I want a lot of followers, but the right kind of followers, to come and dance basically around me, around my brand, and should you be just so lucky to get the kind of people that are going to basically culminate and share what you're talking about, talk about you, and basically share your brand message. Yeah, there you go. That's about it.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you white box. Oh, it's fun. Okay.
Yeah,
so the leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous, and I think that people often perceive being ridiculous as, rolling around on the ground, or standing on your head and waving your feet in the air or whatever. But I think for a lot of people in business, the ridiculousness is, if I do this, will people ridicule me? So it doesn't have to be that outrageous for someone to feel that what they're doing might be ridiculed. Am I right?
I think absolutely. You have to be willing to be yourself. And, Mark Trapakin's recently put out a couple of really good articles, and we'll put them in the comments later, about basically your personal brand. I mean, even if you have a corporate brand, still allowing somebody in your company to really be the face of your brand. I mean, that's how Mark got with Stone Temple Consulting in the first place. And yeah, I totally agree with you. You can't be afraid to be yourself, because we are in a human-to-human economy where people want to buy from people and brands that they trust. Christine, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes. I see Phil Bowyer in the audience, and he is, I think, a perfect example that fits this video kind of. He does do some things that are a little outrageous. I don't know if you've seen his show. I can't think the name of it off the top of my head, but he'll do something that's a little outrageous and puts himself out there, and so he's that leader, and the first follower that we see in the video, that isn't afraid to say, hey, what he's doing is really cool, when everyone else is waiting to see, is he doing something cool or is he doing something ridiculous? We're not sure. And it's that first follower who kind of validates, yes, this is cool. And then and it's so important to have that. If you don't have that, either you won't be noticed or everybody will just think you're crazy, But once you get that first one that says, this is cool, hey, everybody, check this out, and then more join in and more join in, So I think that, yeah, I just noticed Phil's name in the stream, and I think he's a perfect example of that with his show.
You know, I think it comes down to is dare to be different, dare to be yourself. One of the things that I love when I see some of Christine's posts, sorry Christine, I have to put the spotlight back on you again real quick, is that you talk about circle management, you talk about brand management, you talk about My Music Hangout, and then every once in a while you'll do a little crazy thing like you'll put out a dot or you'll put out a hashtag, and you'll get an amazing amount of response. I mean, we're talking hundreds of comments from a period. But that takes a lot of strength to just put that out there, because you know what? You don't know if anybody's going to respond. You don't know how people are going to respond. But if you've cultivated your audience and attracted a lot of like-minded people, you're going to get a lot of people that will respond. And you know what? It actually might end up coming into being a very productive conversation, which I've seen a lot of those threads actually go very productive. You know, and get into some deeper topics.
And you know, I even think even if it stays silly, you know, because I've had some really silly threads. I mean, you know, but it can't be all business, and you have to have fun while you're here. And you know, there has to be more light-heartedness, and I think that that's, you know, a good bonding thing. I've made more friends here on Google Plus on silly kind of posts than I have on serious kind of posts.
Oh, I have to agree. It's the silliness and the humor, and the humor in the comments on other people's posts, you know, and I know when I first started, I was like, oh, they're going to think I'm so ridiculous, but it is actually the humor that brings people in and gets them really responding to you quite quickly, because otherwise it's a serious discussion.
Well, think about it this way. It's something as humans that we can all relate to. So it's a relational thing. It puts everybody on a very even ground. Even if you're a brand, yeah, I mean, your first inclination as a brand is to always talk about your products, talk about your services, talk about your client success stories. But you know what? Some of the brands that we manage, some of their best posts, they're not cat GIFs, I'm sorry, by the way, sorry, GIF, but, you know, they're maybe an image that is an animated GIF, but we align the content with it so that it really does speak to their brand presence as well. So when people see it, yeah, of course they're going to chuckle, they're going to laugh, you know, but at the same time they're going to read, you know, the depth, you know, maybe 400 words or whatever it is, and that creates a bonding experience, and it allows, I think, the trust to really start to flow, because it's like, okay, I get it. You're not just here out after my money. You're here to actually relate to me and relate with me.
I think that humanity is so important, and Phil is just underscoring what you said, Christine. It's all about the fun. Right on, Christine DeGraff. You have to embrace the silly. And I agree. And Phil was one of the very first people on the Midweek Zap. And he was helping me when I was starting out on Google Plus, and I have to say he is one of my Shirtless, Shoeless fans. And we have so much fun together. So thanks, Phil. I have a question that Mollie Youngblood Geiger posted a while back, and it's long, but I want to read it and then we'll give a response. How can resources like Circloscope and social media outlets promote Google business pages? And a second part of that question is, are there any automation applications or services available to help promote Google business pages? And my short answer is, for the first question, you still have to do the work. And you still have to be that individual who does make those crazy comments and do the business. So Circloscope is a tool, and a good tool, for managing circles and finding people and increasing your engagement. And then as far as automation is concerned, do you want to give a quick answer to the automation apps or services?
I just want to say Circloscope is not a good tool. It's a great tool.
Okay.
By the way,
tool.
It's just a tool, so you have to drink, like, you know,
tool.
I gotta drink the entire thing. So, I mean, we use Circloscope on a daily basis. We really do, and I encourage everybody to use Circloscope. And if you have the time, invest the time in it, and I'm sure Christine's going to have a lot more to say about that. So yeah, but I mean, to promote your page, you are using tools. You can use tools like Circloscope. It's not 100% automated because you actually have to do the work, but it definitely takes a lot of the burden out. Like, for instance, you know, some of the latest features with Circloscope is being able to pull out the last 40 posters from a community. That used to take, I don't know.
Actually, it's by days, not by number. Yeah, so you could do like 30 days, 60 days, all the posters.
I stand corrected.
Yes.
By days. You know, but then there's other tools like Friends Plus Me, you know, if you want to talk about automation, which is great for getting your brand page exposure if you have the settings set properly. You know, because one of the settings that you can put in Friends Plus Me is to have whatever you've syndicated out to Facebook and Twitter point back to your original Google Plus post. So that kind of brings it out to the other social networks where you've built up, hopefully, other Shirtless, Shoeless fans, and then bring them back into Google Plus, where they're going to hopefully engage with you there.
Okay, I'm just reading about. I'm reading comments. Oh, whoops. Hold on. So, just William Rock says Circloscope rocks in so many ways, but you still have to do the work and understand what is fluff and what is spam, and that is just so spot on to what we're talking about.
Absolutely, and I like to say, you know, Circloscope is a tool, and just like anything, you know, first of all, you have to use it. It doesn't work if you don't use it. It really doesn't. It's not going to do it for you. You have to do it. But second of all is garbage in, garbage out. You know, if you are just circling random things, random people, random communities that have nothing to do with your brand or their, you know, then you're going to get random results. You know, it's not perfect, but you have to use your brain, and you have to say, okay, if I have a health if I'm selling health food, I'm going to look in health communities. You know, I'm going to look around other health pages. You're not going to, you know, go to a sport or to some random community, a music community, for example. I mean, it has nothing to do with it. So you need to, but you also need to realize that there are spammers in these communities, and there are off-topic posts in these communities. So you know, you do have to keep all of that in mind.
I absolutely agree with that. And we don't want spammers to be our shirtless friends.
And they aren't friends, and they're not fans either. Spammers. I mean, you can't. You just need to eliminate them. We've talked about that a couple of times on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Is refining who you're engaging with is really important, and the people who are attracted to you are the ones who are going to have real engagement with you. Spammers are hijackers, are energy suckers, and you want to eliminate them as quickly as possible and look for those Shirtless, Shoeless fans that are going to have real conversations with you.
Exactly.
And support you.
Block, mute, and blacklist the spammers.
Yeah, we've talked about that several times on this show. I think it's really important to not get distracted by those people and not buy into what they're trying to do. They really are trying to hijack your thoughts. And then I know that you have a new client at Steady Demand with a page, and you want to tell us a little bit about that, Ben, and what's happening with that page?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to highlight Mr. John Whitbeck. So John's been with us for about a little bit, I think just a little bit over a month, I believe, Christine. And when he started with us, he only had 20 followers. So, and now he's grown to about 623 followers. Now, I don't want to talk about the followers as a vanity metric. I'm talking about it in the sense of what we're talking about today, which is really finding your targeted followers that are going to actually end up creating a conversation with your brand. And when we look at basically kind of what's occurred with the page, is we see the proof that things actually are happening now with the brand. Not only just from the social signal or the +1, the share standpoint, but we're actually talking about real conversations that are occurring. Hold on, let me just scroll down here. So, where he's actually started to, because he himself is commenting on the page and interacting with all the fans that are kind of gathering around his brand, and they're talking with you. They're talking. They're having real conversations. And we look at this one right here about Black Friday, right? And I think this is about over 23 comments or something like that. But this is for, in just 1 month, what can happen when you're really dialing in and getting shirtless, shoeless fans. It can happen.
I think another thing to point out is that he's having a lot of conversations also that aren't on the public page. You know, so there's a lot of behind-the-scenes conversations going on where he's actually really getting to know people, you know, getting to know his new followers, and they're getting to know him, and you know, they're taking the conversations to a whole new level.
And how do they do that? Do you want to expand on that a little? You know, it starts out on the page, and there's conversations, and then how do they expand that conversation to that personal level? I'll bet you it's not through email.
Well, right now it's mostly all going on the page, but you know, part of the service that we provide is to reach out to all the new followers and to welcome them and to ask them a question or to, you know, to greet them, and then basically he takes it from there and, you know, follows up with the replies. And there's just been a ton of, you know, it's sparked a ton of, you know, conversations of, oh, I live near there, I've been there, you know, talking about all kinds of things, and you know, so, and these are turning in, you know, I mean, that's the start of a relationship. You have to start the conversation somewhere, you know, whether it's and to do it one-on-one like that, to reach out to these people and you know, be proactive. You know, you have followed them proactively, so now to proactively greet them and talk to them, you know, it just makes sense.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear about how that one-on-one conversation happens on the page.
With the private message, yeah, the private, you know.
Private message. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So
there's a progression. I just want to bring the whole audience along with what the progression is with identifying those fans and seeing them there and responding to them on the page, and then going off to private messaging and private hangouts, which I think are a great way to have a really quick, meaningful conversation without taking too much time, but building really strong engagement. Is that right?
Yeah, and I can just talk about that really quickly. I mean, if you wanted like almost an ABC list. So step A is to find the people that you want to be affinity to your brand, right? So that's step A. We're going to weed out the spammers at that point, you know, whatever. But people are going to add you back. So under your notifications, you've got Sarah Altair added you back. Well, hey, I'm going to click on that in my notifications, and it says say hello. So I'm going to click on say hello, and it says, what's up, Zara Altair? Well, get rid of that first, okay? Get rid of what's up. Just keep Zara Altair, and then put a message in there that's customized. So that message could be anything ranging from, how are you doing today? That's a little bit too casual, but you could do it, to thanks for following me. I appreciate you taking the time. You know, what's the most interesting thing that you think about marketing these days? Ask a thought-provoking question. You know, ask something. Make it open-ended. But in this way, you're authentically showing that you actually care about that person's opinion. Now, one thing I will caveat to that, though, is that the worst thing you can do at this point is if that person gets back to you and says, well, you know, I think the most important thing about internet marketing these days is semantic markup. The worst thing you can do is not reply. If you don't reply, you have just shown that person that you don't really care. So you have to be prepared for that. And the other thing is that as you're ramping up your numbers, the number of people adding you back, the number of people following, it can get overwhelming. So you have to be also prepared to deal with that at the same time.
I would also add that, you know, part of being authentic is, you know, not everybody is going to be your customer or going, you know, but you still, you know, need to be social. And, you know, like Ben said, not responding just because, you know, you have taken on more than you can handle, for example, by sending out hundreds of welcome messages, or because maybe they didn't hit your target market after all. You know, you can't do that. You need to talk to everybody that you're, you know, engaging with on your page. And you know, you can start, so if you're getting a lot of people following you, be a little more selective about who you send the welcomes to. Maybe check them out a little more than you can just by the profile picture and the one-liner. You know, go take a look at them and say, this is somebody I might want to develop a relationship with. Let me send them a message and greet them. And, you know, and it doesn't have to start out with a hard-hitting question. I mean, for example, like for my music followers page, you know, if someone followed me, I could say, hey, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite artist? You know, just start the conversation, basically.
I found another way is when you go and look at who they are. I always want to know who's following me, you know. When I go to look at who they are, and yet someone that really is part of my target market, when I do that thank you, I put something like, I noticed you do something that is pertinent to them and them alone, and then ask the question, you know, have you found that it worked, or something like that. But it also increases that personalization. It's 2 seconds now. It's so easy to find the information that person has online about themselves from there. And then I wanted to bring up one super comment, because this is how it works, everyone. William Rock says, hello all Zapsters. I've not said hello yet, as this conversation has been off the rails. Welcome all. So yeah, we welcome everyone who's here and all the engagement and a great group of followers. And then we're kind of heading to the end portion of the event here. Ben, you want to tell us some of the features that Steady Demand has, and I think you have a special offer right now too.
Oh yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, Steady Demand. I mean, we help companies with their brand pages. We also help them build a following. One of the recent things that we've been doing is we've actually kind of together created a formula, a recipe for helping brands basically build followers in this authentic kind of fashion, like we're talking about. And we currently have an offering that going on right now. Not everybody qualifies, but we do have an offering to try us out for free. And basically, we'll build 100 quality followers for your brand for free. And I'll pop that link into the comments area basically after the show. And we're doing it as a way for people to get to know us. So again, it's about the relationship. And B, kind of get a little bit of a peek behind the curtains and see what that kind of quality can basically be for their brand. Because not everybody really, I think, understands exactly what the role of the follower is and how that follower can really help their business. Some look at it as just a vanity metric, where it's not a vanity metric. You want those followers to be your shirtless, shoeless fans.
Another thing, if I could jump in, is some look at it as potential customers, again, and not everyone is. You need that, as we saw in that video, you're standing out there alone. You need those first few shirtless, shoeless fans to come rally behind you. Your first group of fans may never become a customer, but they might become the people that help you get customers, the ones that share it so that other people see it, the ones who plus it so that other people see it, the ones who are talking to you, and so there's activity around you, and that activity is what is going to draw more activity.
Oh, I really agree with that, is that not everyone is going to be your customer, but that the activity still within your targeted group is really important to getting the word out there so more people do find out about you. And then William Rock has a comment here for Steady Demand and Ben Fisher. The cool part about what you are doing with companies, Ben Fisher, your team is teaching.
That is absolutely correct, William. Absolutely correct. We really believe that there should be, if the company has time, there should be somebody on the inside that can interact with the page. We've just seen that that's the most effective use. And at the end of the day, we all question the value of social media, not just Google+, but social media in general. It's very hard to connect the dots between, I made a sale, did that come from Google+, did it come from Twitter, did it come from a content marketing article I put up on LinkedIn? But they all work together. To reference another article that Mark Tropigan recently put out is don't put your content marketing behind the horse. You've got to put it behind the brand. So they all kind of work symbiotically together. And your follower base is even so much more important when it comes to Google+, because Google understands, again, intrinsically, the connections between all of your fans, all of those people, and that resonates directly to their brand. All of this goes out to the knowledge graph and is connected together semantically. So that's another reason why it's really important to have the right types of followers.
Okay. Mollie has something. Let me bring that up here. Exactly, Christine DeGraff. If people know who you are and what you do, there is an opportunity for the followers to share your information within their network when they hear that someone might need your services. Just following up on what I think we both said earlier in the show. Okay, and Lee Rickler has a very similar statement, and that's not everyone is going to be your customer. Agreed, but who they know could be. Just stated a different way. Hi, Lee. Lee's another Shirtless, Shoeless fan here, so it's always great to see everybody. All right, and we are pretty much coming up on closing time, so Christine, you have any last wisdom buds you want to share with everyone?
I would say that if you know, I see so many people and brand pages here on Google Plus that struggle. They've really struggled. You know, they'll have they're basically talking to an empty room, but there are a lot of people here. You know, if they're not finding you, you need to go find them. That's the key. You know, I did a case study with my dog. I think a lot of people have saw that. He had 40 followers, and in a month he was over 1,000, and he had equivalent engagement to Guy Kawasaki and people with millions of followers. I went out and found his raving fans, his Shirtless, Shoeless fans, and but the point is, you know, that page had been sitting there for 9 months or a year with no activity. And it wasn't until I started reaching out and go find these people, you know, circle them, that will add you back, and then you'll start to see your presence here explode.
Yep. Do the work. Find your Shirtless, Shoeless fans. Engage with them. And you will see the return on engagement, and the return on investment will be awesome. And it'll last a very long time. That's about all I can say about that.
I just have to agree. And I think it starts with being yourself. I want to go back to the, you know, what you think people might ridicule you for is you have to get over that first step of fear. You know, what do people think? What if somebody disagrees with me? I know for a lot of people starting out, that is a very big fear. But just like the dancer in the video, just be yourself, whatever that is, and people will start coming and they'll start dancing with you, and you're going to be one shirtless, shoeless rocker.
If you think about it, that dancer in the video, I guess he was at a concert or some outdoor type of concert. You know, if he had been at home dancing by himself, nobody would be following him. He had to get out there and dance in a place where people would see him. So if you're equating that to Google Plus, you know, maybe in communities, you know, go out there and start posting in communities, start talking to people, you know, in the HOA streams. Everybody knows, you know, all of us HOA people know that you can make tons of friends and, you know, relationships just by commenting on the stream and talking to each other. You know, you can't just be dancing all by yourself. If nobody's watching, you know, then nobody's going to get up with you. That's for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ben and Christine. And this has been a terrific conversation. And next week we're going to be carrying on the theme of your personality and your business with Clarissa Silva. And I hope you can join us then. So thanks again, Ben and Christine from Steady Demand. It's lots of really great nuggets about expanding your fans and building raving fans. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, and happy Wednesday, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, there's a way to go out.